What is up, guys? This is Guns Uncensored. Today, Julius Malema firing a real rifle. So nearly 4 years after the incident has occurred, the NPA has finally decided to charge Julius Malema with firing a rifle in a built-up area. Added to that, there is possession of an unlicensed firearm and possession of ammunition, which is a little sketchy if you ask me. I know the NPA are a little bit, I don't know, it seems a bit dodgy that they did that one. As it seems, the rifle was handed to Julius by his bodyguard, handed the rifle to him, walked to the side, and he fired off 7 shots, handed it back, and then ducked off before they sang the struggle song. We're not going to get into too much detail about the politics and all that horseshit. What we're specifically looking at is the comment by Malema Ndlozi and Julius Malema that it was a toy firearm that coincided with fireworks. Now, all of us know, we know what gunshots sound like. We've been around the range, we've shot on the range, we've filmed each other shooting on the range. We know what gunshots sound like when filmed on a cell phone as well. More importantly, there's certain things that happen with a firearm when you fire it. So basically, for those who don't understand, and for maybe the media that are watching this, when you fire a firearm, a firing pin inside the firearm goes forward and it strikes the back, strikes a primer on the bullet, which causes an ignition, which then causes powder to ignite and build up gas, which then forces a bullet out the barrel. When you fire a bullet out of a firearm, there's obviously an opposite reaction that happens in terms of recoil, and that pushes the firearm back. So every time you pull the trigger, it pulls back and gives you recoil. The bigger the round, the bigger the recoil. The smaller the round, the less recoil. If you're going to shoot 22 LR, which is 22 long rifle, you're not going to have so much recoil. If you're going to shoot a 50 BMG, you're going to get a lot of recoil. It depends. Judging by this rifle, it either looks like some kind of a 308 caliber, either 7.62 by 39 or 7.62 by 51. I can't specifically tell exactly what the firearm is. It actually more to me looks like it could be an AR-15 style rifle. In photos that we'll post up on screen, the footage isn't very clear, and that's what's basically in dispute in court at the moment. So there's a few reasons why I believe that this was actually a real firearm and not a toy firearm. Ndlozi and Malema have claimed that it was a toy firearm and that it coincided with fireworks. It doesn't actually work that way. There was no wires attached to it to sink it in place. It's total bullshit. Long story short, why was it claimed that this is a toy firearm when they could have said it was a blank firearm? That no one has ever stated once that it's a blank firearm, or a rifle that has had a blank firing device attached to the barrel of the gun. So basically, when you fire blanks through a firearm, you need to put some sort of a block on the front of it so that there's pressure that can build up to cycle that firearm.
Usually to get blanks to cycle a semi-auto, you put a blank firing adapter on the front, and that just keeps a ton of gas pressure inside of the system, makes that bolt cycle, and a lot of the time you run a really light buffer weight and a really light spring. I haven't modified this in any way. I really doubt it's gonna cycle, but I know we can find out. Sounds kind of like a cap gun. That's funny.
So a semi-automatic gun, when you pull the trigger, because the bullet comes out and there's pressure, pulls out the old round and semi-automatically puts a new round in. With blank guns, this is not how it works. Because everything's open, there's no projectile that's coming out. Basically all that happens is that it goes pop, the bolt will just move back a little bit, and you'll see it in the video that I've provided here. Let's take a look at that. They keep saying it's a toy gun. It was a toy gun that coincided with fireworks, and that's bullshit. The noise was coming out of that firearm. If it was a blank firing firearm, they would have said it was a firearm that was fitted with a device so we could fire blanks. So one of the investigating officers, Colonel Mgwadeka, said that they obviously confiscated firearms from Adrian Snyman's security company. We've seen them use dash prods in their day-to-day work. They may have other firearms, they may have ARs, they may have AKs, they may have Sagas, who knows. They confiscated these firearms to check, and they said the firearm in question, the breech block, he referred to the breech block, had been changed.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
How's it, guys? Just cutting in here while I'm busy cutting the video. You can see I'm busy editing in the background. He's referring to a breech block. I know what the Colonel's talking about. He's probably referring to the actual bolt, or the rotating bolt that locks the cartridge in place, and then that's got the extractor on it that extracts the round out. That would obviously leave specific markings on the rim of the case as it gets extracted. It's probably what he's talking about. I hope to God that's what he's talking about. But we'll see as the case progresses. But yeah, he's probably referring to the bolt, or the rotating bolt of either an AR or an AK. And the serial number of that breech block did not match the serial number of that specific firearm. So that tells me that it was changed, or one had broken and they'd replaced it, but that would have to be licensed, because every part that's licensable, if you have to change it like a barrel, anything with a serial number has to be relicensed to that specific owner. The purpose of doing that change would be to obviously do something to the ballistics, because surprise, surprise, a cartridge was found on the scene. So changing this thing would mean that that cartridge can't be matched to that specific firearm. So someone's been tampering with evidence. If they haven't taken so goddamn long to make arrests or confiscate things and lay charges, we wouldn't be sitting in this situation. But it's been so long, we're going to see the NPA probably cough this up anyway. There's a whole lot of things needed to get a firearm in this country, and there's a whole lot of laws that we have to follow around actually firing the damn thing. One of those things is you need a competency, a firearms competency, and you need to get a license, and you need to get motivations and that sort of stuff, which leads me to bring on our sponsor. Gunlicense.co.za is the sponsor of this episode. So a question I get asked almost daily is, Tim, how do I get a firearm? Applying for a firearm can be a daunting process, and it's something that the guys over at gunlicense.co.za understand. Gunlicense.co.za is a solutions company that specializes in the entire firearms licensing process. They help you from start to finish. They also provide effective defensive firearm training to civilians and the security industry, which is really, really cool. Firearms training is something I always advocate for, and gunlicense.co.za is the way to go. Gunlicense.co.za offers competency in all licensing application services throughout their country, so they can help you with your application for a license and for your competency. They can do this all remotely from their offices that are based here in the Helderberg. So please head over to their website, gunlicense.co.za, and get your competency sorted out, get that license, and get armed. Once again, this was a bit of a short one, but thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate the support that I'm getting. It's really, really great to see the emails coming and the questions being asked. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Guns Uncensored.